We will now determine the domain of the composite function fog of x, given that f of x equals 1 over x and g of x equals square root of x plus 10. So first, let's determine this composition function, that is fog of x. So this is written as f of g of x. So we give the input g of x to the function f of x. So this is equivalent to f of, we now replace g of x by square root of x plus 10. So therefore this becomes f of square root of x plus 10, which means we have to replace x by square root of x plus 10 in f of x. So when we do that, we get 1 over square root of x plus 10. So this is basically the f of g of x. And to determine the domain of the composite function f of g of x, this is actually determined by the input function. So basically this g of x is the input function and this f of x is the output function. So for composite function, we have to consider the domain restriction from the input function. The domain restriction of g of x equals, since x, this is given as square root of x plus 10, the square root should be greater than or equal to 0. So we say that the inside part of the square root function, this has to be greater than or equal to 0, because we cannot take the square root of a negative number. And this implies when we solve this equality, we get x greater than or equal to negative 10. This could be written in interval form as negative 10 over infinity. So we close this with the square bracket because 10 is included, and we put this parenthesis for infinity. So therefore we say that the domain restriction of the composite function is interval negative 10 to infinity.